Big D Entertainment, in association with Dipsy Doodle Productions, presents The Dave Holly Hour, brought to you by TJS Ceramic Studio, Serendipity Studio Gallery and Gifts, Chasers Food and Spirits, Excel Chiropractic, Quality Nails, Jesse Moffitt Entertainment, and the Sioux Falls Arts Council. The Dave Holly Hour features Sioux Empire arts and entertainment conversations. A true lover of arts, entertainment, good food, and fun times, including an occasional Jack Daniels. Okay, so a few Jack Daniels. Here he is, Dave Holly.
Welcome, everyone. Happy 4th of July. Please be safe and responsible this holiday. Then, keep celebrating after today as well with Sioux Falls' own professional Shakespeare troupe, Bear Bodkins Theater. They present Twelfth Night, the evenings of the 5th through the 7th, and next week, the 10th through the 14th, at Falls Park. Director Jayna Gearhart Fitzsimmons tells us all about it. Then we hear from actor and choreographer Ruthie Pottratz. She's back in the Sioux Empire Theater community and just finished up working at a kids' camp. But first, let's pop the cork on this bubbly little show. Time to grab your favorite beverage, lift it high, and toast it to being Thursday, a.k.a. Weekend Eve.
Hey, the weekend isn't around the corner, it's here!
So long, hump day, and your frumpy way. We say hello to Thursdays with opening nights. The weekend is near, and we can see the bright lights. Yes, Thursday, you're so hearty, we can't wait for Friday, so a day early, we start the party. Whatever you're drinking and whatever you're drinking it out of might very well be determined by where and when you're listening. My choice of Jasper Newton. That's Jack Daniel's Diet Coke with lime. For you, be it a cup of coffee, a spot of tea, glass of milk, bottle of water, mug of beer, a cocktail, glass of wine, or flute of champagne. Lift it high and toast to summer get-togethers. Last Friday, some of the cast and crew of Late Night Boomin' got together for the first annual Boom BQ. Like the name, huh? Great food, great friendship. Speaking of late night, start watching Kello TV Saturday nights this weekend for the new season. Another live taping is coming up Friday the 12th at the Washington Pavilion, and it's free. Cheers to you, Late Night Boomin' and Boom BQ. Speaking of cheers, which just happens to rhyme with beers, say cheers with a beer or your favorite cocktail at Chasers, West 12th Street and Ellis Road. Make sure you go grab some food while you're at it. And on Mondays, I host trivia there, starting at 7 in the evening. And this coming Monday, the 8th, the theme is Summer Hits. Honorable mention. What over the past week made Dave laugh, guffaw, chuckle, chortle, giggle, simply smile, or maybe even shed a tear of joy? Well, we get a lot in this one. See, my love and I had an absolutely amazing Sunday. Coffee in bed, French toast for breakfast, live music with our friend Elizabeth Hunstead playing outdoors for a car show, a retirement party for some of my coworkers. Then she grilled some Iowa chops to near perfection. But as the late night infomercials say, but wait, there's more. Throughout the day, and actually even earlier in the week, she kept asking if I wanted to go to the Dina Carter concert at the Pavilion. Now, I like Dina. I'm familiar with a handful of her songs, more so her Christmas tunes. I kept asking what the tickets were going for. Then the price went down some, so she asked again. I told her if it got down to a particular price range, we'd go. Well, just as those chops are getting done, she sees that our dear friend Zach Dresch, comic, drummer, the voice you hear opening and closing this show, and just an overall great guy, posts that he has 2 free tickets to Dina Carter. And so, we ate, and then we got ready, and we go down to the Pavilion, and on the way there, I kept wondering why Zach, who has an immense love of all music, but not a huge country fan, would have tickets for that particular show. Then as we're walking into the Pavilion, it hits me. Janice Gilbert, a previous guest on this show, was opening for Dina. Janice has been having an amazing year herself, a live and local show in the Belbus Theater, and then most recently on the Levitt stage. And Zach was her drummer for this show and the Levitt show. Not only that, yet another dear friend, Matt Morrison, played bass and harmonized with her. 3 wonderfully talented friends opening for a national act. They were Tony the Tiger, great. Dina Carter was fantastic. Icing on the cake to a fun-filled Sunday. And now I know why my love kept mentioning it. In just a few minutes, our chat with Jayna Gearhart Fitzsimmons about Bear Bodkins Theater. Later in the show, we're joined by actor and choreographer Ruthie Pottratz on the Dave Holly Hour. Take in the great works at Serendipity Studio and Gift Gallery in the Shriver Building. So many great works from regional artists. Now, tomorrow is First Friday in downtown Sioux Falls. That means it's your monthly chance to meet and greet the featured artists between 5 and 8 p.m., including this month, Crystal Richards, Heather Kuhl, Eileen Halverson, and Nan Van Huysen. Visit their website, serendipitystudiosd.com. So again, serendipitystudiosd.com for a full list of upcoming events. Serendipity Studio located downtown Sioux Falls in the historic Shriver Building at 230 South Phillips Avenue on the 2nd floor.
Are you an artist? Need some funding to further your art? There's a great opportunity for you through a Sioux Falls Arts Council program. The Artist Microgrant program gives away several microgrants to local artists, no matter what art discipline you're in. Unlike more traditional grants, a microgrant is very easy to apply for. Go to artssiouxfalls.org. If you haven't done so yet, create a listing on the Artist Directory, which is beneficial in its own way. Then go to the Artist Microgrants page and apply online. The process is simple. Find out more about the Sioux Falls Arts Council as well online at artssiouxfalls.org.
Check out the new ceramic studio in Sioux Falls, conveniently located off Kiwanis Avenue on 5th Street. TJS Ceramics inside Oscar's Mini Storage. We have thousands of classic vintage ceramic mold items and several new items too. TJS Ceramics offers classes, special open studio nights, and completed ready-to-purchase items. Bisque studio time or painting parties are available. Visit TJS Ceramics Studio in person today or email tjsceramics@gmail.com for more details.
For him, every day is a Holly day. Here again, Dave Holly.
Welcome back, everybody. Oh, you know what I am going to say. You even know all the little taglines that come along with it, so just start getting used to the way Dave intros a segment. It's always a pleasure to talk Sioux Empire, arts and entertainment. Always a pleasure to have great guests on the show. And, you know, it's even a pleasure to say that, is there a doctor in the house? Dr. Jayna Gearhart Fitzsimmons, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Dave.
You typically are.
Yeah, that's my natural state.
I think so. Yeah, it's like anytime I'm on TV, oh, great. You got this big smile on your face and everything's happy-go-lucky. And so that must mean that, you know, rehearsals have gone great for Bear Bodkins that opens this weekend.
Yeah, I'm always extra happy this time of year because I get to do my very favorite thing, which is Shakespeare in the Park with my friends and with wonderful people. So we are getting close to opening and yeah, it's a really exciting time. So I'm feeling good.
All right. 2 weekends worth.
Yes.
So we have the 12th night starting on the 5th night of July.
Yes.
And so we've got 5, 6, 7.
Yes, the 5th
this
through the
weekend.
7th. Yep, for the first weekend. And then we're back the 10th through the 14th of July at Falls Park.
Of next. You do realize that there's something happening on the 11th.
I know, and we're sad to miss out.
Because I know that, you know, we have some people in there that, well, they're nominated.
Yeah, quite a number of folks in the group. So yeah, we're kind of like in cahoots and like, okay, can folks kind of go after the show? But yeah, during the Sioux Falls Stage Awards, we will be at the Mill.
Yeah.
Doing a show.
Yeah, let's talk about that for one thing. You know, where Bear Bodkins takes place and why it takes place there.
Yeah. So our shows all happen at Falls Park, beautiful Falls Park. We know we love, in the ruins of the Queen Bee Mill there. And it's one of the only times of the year that the mill is open to the public. Usually it's gated and you can't go inside. So it's really extra special when we get to do our show in there. And we get to perform in there because Bear Bodkins works in partnership with the wonderful Sioux Falls Parks and Recreation Department, who sponsor our shows every year, who take really great care of us and make sure we have one of the most beautiful theaters in the world to perform in.
And then that way, since it's a park function, it becomes a free ticket for everybody.
Yes, even better. We love that. Yes, because of their generous support over the last 27 years.
Yeah, that's right. 27th season.
27.
Incredible.
We can offer our tickets for free to everybody.
Oh, wow. That works out well. But
yes.
Doesn't mean you can just show up. If you call ahead, it's better, correct? We still do that route where if you call down to the city, or do we call Bear Bodkins?
Yeah, in fact, it's even simpler than that.
Oh, I like simple.
No need to call. Me too. No need to call. You just come to the park. We open, we kind of have our tickets handed out starting at 6:00 every night before the show, free tickets. It just helps us keep track of how many people are coming into the mill. And then we open the gates at 6:30. And then you come in and see the show at 7.
All right.
And we ask our audience members to bring their favorite lawn chair to see the show, and they can set up and be super comfortable. And usually we say lawn chairs or blankets, but this year with how much rain we've had, lawn chairs are the move.
Yes, definitely. You don't want to sit down on that soggy.
No.
In fact, I think there's something called Soggy Bottom somewhere in the world, isn't there? But it takes place there because, well, Shakespeare... He had everybody performing outside. What would you say? Is there an estimate on how much of his performances took place outside?
Yeah, so there's still, there's kind of some question about that still. But scholars are really interested in kind of how Shakespeare's plays were performed. But what we do know is that one of Shakespeare's primary performance venues was the Globe Theater, which was an outdoor theater. It was enclosed but open air and had an open roof and just a beautiful theater. And so because we are an original practice Shakespeare company, which means we think about how Shakespeare was performed in Shakespeare's own time and how we do our work with Bear Bodkins, we pay homage to that by working outdoors like Shakespeare did at the Globe Theater, and also kind of 3/4 in the round with audience on 3 sides, kind of hugging the playing space and kind of centralized around the actors there.
How much does that 3/4 hold? You said, the tickets prior, so you can keep track of how many people are going into the mill. Is there a cutoff point?
We never want to turn anybody away who wants to see free Shakespeare. It's mostly to help us keep track so that we can say to the city of Sioux Falls, hey, this is how many people came to see our show.
Bring us back for season 28.
Right, season 28. But yeah, so we try and fit everybody in. That means sometimes it gets a little cozy. But yeah, it's a comfortable night. We have 3 sections of the audience that are all in shade by the time we are, kind of into the show.
And this year, at least this weekend, on the opening weekend, you shouldn't get too overheated.
Yes.
You might want to bring an umbrella.
We might have a few sprinkles.
We might have that.
Yeah, I always feel like I become like a junior meteorologist this time of year because I'm always looking at the weather so closely. But yeah, it looks like we're going to have a nice temperate weekend to enjoy for our first weekend.
Well, because I was thinking, wow, when was the last time that it was going to be like, 70s and low 80s for the 4th of July, and then all the weekends after that? And it's like, okay, cross our fingers. At least the temps keep going that way.
Yeah.
We don't need any more rain.
We
but
don't.
we will take the nice temperatures and certainly run with that.
Yeah.
Every time somebody says something, and San Diego 72 year round. So I always go when there's nice weather, call it a Chamber of Commerce day.
Yes.
And then say, I'd take 364 of these. Christmas Eve, I do want just a little Currier and Ives snow.
We like snow.
Yeah.
But for Bear Bodkins, we love 70s and 80s.
And in those 27 years, how many times has it been just nice?
Oh, we've been lucky, especially, in the past, 10 or 12 years since we've started really landing right around the 4th. We've had, I mean, knock on wood, we've had more nice weather than really brutal weather.
True.
But yeah, we have had some really hot nights, and we have some audience members that like will hang with us through all sorts of weather. So we're always grateful for those Shakespeare diehards that'll come out in all weather.
All right. So let's go back to the part about being an original Shakespeare group, performance group, and trying to stick to the different aspects that he had in his time, but yet you modernize.
Yes.
So what are we doing with the 12th night to make it in 2024?
Yeah. So one thing that Bear Bodkins audiences can always expect is kind of our signature style, which is that original practice style where we're outdoors, we're 3/4 in the round. We're thinking about how Shakespeare was done in his own time. So that means we use a small cast of actors that double to play all of the different roles. We have a relatively short rehearsal time period, just like Shakespeare did. So we are in and out in about a month with Bear Bodkins, with the rehearsal period. We also use what I call gender interesting casting, because in Shakespeare's time, only men were allowed to perform. Boo, we don't like that. So we let kind of the actors sort of dictate who plays who, right? So actors of all genders play characters of all genders. It's determined by the actor's strengths and their interests and what they want to do. And we also use a really bare bones approach to staging. So we use minimal set and costume and prop pieces, and it really lets the audience use their imagination to help us tell the story. So there's all of those things that are working together. We use all of Shakespeare's original text. We don't update the text or modernize it in any way, but our actors are really skilled at bringing the language to life so that the audience can easily follow the stories and enjoy.
As time goes on, are you finding, especially because you're a huge fan of Shakespeare, and I've been in a Shakespeare play before, and it's how the language is spoken. It's not the language itself. It's in English, but it's just getting it down.
Yeah.
And are you finding that audiences are grasping it better?
You know, I think that audiences, when they come to our shows, some of them are a little skeptical, where it's their first Shakespeare, or maybe they have kids with them, or maybe they've had to read Shakespeare in school and they were like, I don't know. And so sometimes we have a little convincing to do when audiences come. But we find the best way to bring people into the world of Shakespeare is to perform it clearly, with a lot of support from, the actor's voice and gestures, and to perform it with a lot of heart. These are actors who love performing Shakespeare. And when that shines through, I think everybody can be involved in the story and understand.
And for myself, I've noticed that it's progressed for me throughout the years.
Yeah.
Since first year of college. And it's just that it's one of the things I always find interesting is, okay, the play will start. I already know what the play is about. And I kind of go, okay.
Yeah.
There always seems to be this moment in Shakespeare where you figured it out.
Yes, that's one of my favorite things, that I can see sometimes that happens to the audience. Sometimes that still happens to me when I see a Shakespeare play, where you go, oh, the language starts clicking and you kind of go, oh yeah, I'm in this now. And it's a wonderful moment as an audience member and wonderful for the whole company to experience.
Is there a Shakespeare play you have not seen?
There's a lot that I haven't seen.
Because he wrote a whole bunch.
Yes, and some of them don't get produced very often.
True.
So there's plenty that I haven't seen, but
which means there's plenty of seasons ahead.
Exactly, right? Beyond 27. And interestingly, this is my first time doing 12th Night. I've never worked on a production of 12th Night before, so that's been really fun. But I think if there's one Shakespeare play that I would really love to see that doesn't get staged too much is Cymbeline, one of his later plays. And it's weird and it has all sorts of wacky stuff that happens. And yeah, there's
Weird and
wacky, which are two of my favorite things. So.
And I can see some of the people that you already have in this cast doing that.
Yes. I know. Maybe it should go on my list for future
So
seasons.
let's talk about the All-Stars.
Yes.
Because that cast is pretty well loaded.
Wonderful cast. I mean, truly. And we have 9 in the cast this year.
Which is a little upper
it's a
for you.
little bigger than, we're usually kind of in that 6 to 8 range, but we need it for this play because there's so much happening and there's so much disguise and mistaken identity and things. It really, really is handy to have that 9th person. So we have a really great group. It is, folks who have seen Bear Bodkins shows before will recognize some favorites coming back, like Jeff Larson, Tatiana Chance. We have Tristan Love back after a few years away, and Cale Hellman too, which is wonderful. Ryan Howe, what a gift, and Nolan Whiff. He's playing Malvolio, and it's so much fun. And then we have new folks this year. We have TJ Ashes and Vaughn Schneider, who are both Augustana students. So that's been fun.
Maybe seen them on stage
I've maybe
before.
seen them do other things before. And then we have Macy Lupica, who is just absolutely lovely. Yes. Yeah. I mean, has so much heart, so much talent, playing Viola.
Oh, because she puts so much into a role.
Yeah. Just a tremendous actor.
That you think it's her.
Yeah. And it's been so fun because I've seen her and admired her work in so many things around the area for years. And when she came to auditions this year, it was so exciting because she just is great and just as lovely to work with as you would dream.
Yeah. And are you surprised as to how much Shakespeare is going to be done in this next season?
I love it. I am so excited. I'm marking my calendar because there are so many wonderful Shakespeare opportunities ahead this year. It's unreal. I'm excited.
Yeah, because I know that you have an incredibly busy schedule being at Augustana University.
Yeah, busy.
And so you're going on a lot of those, but any chance we're ever going to see you on stage?
I think that it'd be really fun to kind of come out of my acting retirement, I guess if you call that. As we've talked about before, I feel like as an artist, directing is really my home. I love directing. It is just, I just feel like it's my purpose. I have a great time directing, but man, sometimes, so it's tempting. And especially with a season like this in our community, there's just so many opportunities that would be wonderful, but I do keep pretty busy. So
yes, you do. Before we switch over to talking about Augustana though, let's just kind of put a wrap on everything for Shakespeare in the Park with Bear Bodkins Theater. You've been a lover of it, well, most of your life.
Yes.
As long as I've known you. And you decided to actually take over the Bear Bodkins that had been started previously by a couple of really cool people.
Yeah.
One of whom, they both probably were instructors for you, weren't they? Or no, because your undergrad, that's right, came from Southwest Minnesota State University.
Southwest Minnesota State.
Little setup there. So.
Go Mustangs. My twin sister went to Augustana.
Yes.
So I feel like there's that Augie connection too. But Ivan Fuller taught at Augie for many years. Started Bear Bodkins Theater Company in 1997. And established this really great thing that we have in Sioux Falls, this wonderful Shakespeare in the Park. I began working for Bear Bodkins in 2006 when I joined as an actor.
Yeah,
I worked 18
years for you.
I know, time flies. So worked as an actor for Bear Bodkins for many years. And it was just such a wonderful outlet because I love Shakespeare. And it was such a great way to get to perform his works every summer in a beautiful location. And so, when Ivan and his wife, Vicky moved, they were like, we really want Bear Bodkins to continue. And so, I undertook the artistic director role. And I've been doing that for the last 12 years, if you can believe it. So,
Good for you.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun to watch it progress too.
I feel like we've just really grown as a company and we've gotten to do some really cool things with some awesome people. And it's just such a great gift to be able to do Shakespeare in the Mill for the community, for the city.
And the city being very generous and being able to host you for that. Great job there. That's not the easiest thing to do, is to convince the city to put something in. And here you go, 27 times.
Yeah, we have wonderful partners at the City of Sioux Falls Parks and Rec Department. We are grateful to them. And it feels like such an easy
Right.
partnership because they're just wonderful people and they want to bring awesome arts events to our city.
Yeah, so you don't have to do the hard sell every year. Hey, sure, here's our dates. Okay, wonderful. We'll have you.
Yeah, they trust us, I think, after 27 years and a lot of happy Shakespeare fans.
True.
Yes.
Yep. Because you hand out those tickets, you keep count. That's right. And tickets, again, you can start picking them up
At 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
Every night before the performance, you'll see me. I stand out in front of the gate. I greet everybody. I hand them out. We open the gates at 6:30, and then the show starts at 7.
Starts at 7. All right. Dates again are 5 through 7?
The 5th through the 7th, and the 10th through the 14th. 7 o'clock, and it's free.
Yes. Great opportunity. So take advantage of it. The other thing you need to take advantage of is, besides all the community theater that we talk about on this show, we also like to talk about the collegiate level. And man, it keeps getting better every year, both between Augie and USF. It's almost like, are they having a competition to see who does what or who does what the best? Because it's become great theater.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And yeah, it's great to be a part of a collegiate community. I mean, USF and Augie are neighbors.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's wonderful that it's kind of like a great boom in theatrical arts at the collegiate level, like you said. It's great.
Well, I guess the thing that I remember is, back when I used to talk to Ivan and Vicki Fuller on the radio, 20 plus years ago, they would have enough people to be in cast and to do the production and so forth, but the programs themselves didn't have great numbers of people. And if they did, they'd graduate and probably have to go to, if they were really serious about it, Los Angeles, Chicago, or New York.
Mm-hmm.
Now we find people sticking around Sioux Falls and in the region because it's so much better, or not so much better. I mean, it was very good to begin with.
There's more opportunities.
More opportunities that have come along. And it's so great to see that. And wow, I tell you, I've seen some wonderful musicals at Augie. And then your past play, an original by Richard Swanson.
Yes.
Who also wrote another original that you directed for the Premier Playhouse premieres.
Yeah. It was a busy winter.
Yes, it was.
It was the Jayna and Richard friendship tour.
JR.
Yeah, but Richard, and in fact, his episode of your podcast is one of my very favorites because, just a wonderful conversation.
He's amazing.
Yes, just one of the best people in this world, and he's a storyteller. He has such a wonderful vision and so many great ideas and stories that need to be told. And we are so lucky in our community that we got to hear 2 of them last season with This Is My Body at Augustana and the kind of companion show to that hearing at the premieres.
Yes.
So it was really fun to be able to work on those shows at the same time. Yeah. It's important work. And I think that the response that we got for both of those shows, the community response was just really wonderful. And yeah, it meant a lot to the people who came to the show and the people who were on stage and part of the production teams. And yeah, it was great. Anytime, any day that I am working with my dear friend Richard to tell stories on stage is a great day.
No matter what the temperature outside might be, because it
even
was
in
a
the
cold winter too.
It was.
But it did make the winter go very fast to be able to have so many theatrical events to go to. Yeah. And so because of that, there are, awards coming up next Thursday. And so anybody you're particularly rooting for anything?
Oh, that's a tough question. Because like you said, it's been an astounding season. There's just been so many wonderful things. And, I've really been impressed and have loved so many things that I've seen this season. I think that kind of top of my list, and again, this is there's so many wonderful things, but Debbie Jones in Natural Shocks with Monstrous Little Theater Company was astounding.
Yeah.
Her work is incredible. That is such a tough show. And I've loved that show for a while. And it was just so exciting to see that that was being produced and to have it kind of in conversation with Susan Glaspell's play Trifles, I thought was genius. And that was one of the most enjoyable, thought-provoking, unsettling evenings of theater in like all of the best ways that I've had in a long time. And I think too, another show that I really loved this season was They Promised Her the Moon at Mighty Corson Art Players. Yeah, I mean, just really.
And Nancy Tapkin in that as well.
I mean, an outstanding cast. And I think we're really getting to see a lot of wonderful actors in our community. I mean, yeah, like I mean, Love and Information was so great too. And we got to see a lot of folks that we haven't seen together in roles, and just really beautifully directed by Jeff Larson, who I'm just a huge fan of. I mean, obviously I work with him all the time and I love him. But yeah, just, I mean, really gifted performers, really gifted directors, and yeah, I mean, it's hard to pick a favorite.
And we're starting to see, like I mentioned earlier, there are more people out of Augie and USF that keep making their way into casts at Premiere or at Mighty Corson or down south at Worthing.
Yes,
and
wonderful.
Just amazing what they do.
Yes, and just so many, I think, so many theaters, I mean, just even beyond the shows I just listed, so many wonderful things, and theaters just really, theater companies in our community just really living their mission. And it's wonderful to see such connection and just good people doing great things.
Yeah, and of course, let's not forget those involved in the tech parts of this too. Some fine people working and making sure the sound cues are there, the light cues, and that's something that's really grown, at least in how I view it over the past 20 years. Is there's more people going into theater and so forth, but there's a lot that are going in with the idea of being a tech.
Yeah, and that's something we see at Augustana too. Just a lot of interest in kind of what a career that is technical theater focused can mean. And also something that I really love about teaching at Augie specifically is that we get to train our students in all areas so that they leave Augustana with all sorts of skills.
A well-rounded aspect.
Absolutely well-rounded and hireable and employable, you know. So that's a big deal for us. And I think that it's exciting to see too folks who come in with an acting focus go, oh, what design area might I like to explore? Or how could learning how to do, these technical areas better my work as an artist? And so that's an exciting path to see students take too. But yeah, I think that we have so many impressive designers and technicians in our community. And yeah, I've been really, really, really fortunate to work with a bunch of them this last year. So
and writers too.
Yes. Yeah. Playwrights abound in our community, which is wonderful.
Yeah. That's how the whole premiere started.
Yeah. A wonderful program.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
fantastic.
Just, yes, such a gift
really
to our
is. Community.
And yeah, I really think that the work that the Premiere Playhouse is doing to really give voice to new work from writers in our community, it's fantastic.
Will you be on the panel of the judges this year again?
I think so. I'm hoping to. It's one of
Awesome.
my favorite things, and I'm always honored to be asked. So, yeah.
All right. Well, we look forward to all of that. And another thing that I would look forward to is, do we have the 24-25 season for Augie in place?
We do.
Okay.
We do.
What's on that schedule?
Wow, we were just talking about all the Shakespeare opportunities this year, and Augie's going to add one more to the list. So right around Halloween, we're going to do Macbeth at Augie, which is going to be fun. It's one of my favorite tragedies, and we have a really cool kind of design team for that one to make some theater magic happen. So very excited for that. And then also in the fall, we're going to do Almost Maine, which is a beautiful story. And then in the spring, we have a newer play. It's called Or by Liz Duffy Adams. And I'll be directing that one. It's about the playwright Afra Ben, who is a Restoration era playwright. And it's this like really fun, wild kind of farce about one night in her life as all of these, people that she's in relationships with kind of knock on her door as she's trying to write toward a deadline. It's a wonderful play. It's new. It's going to be, I think, really a great addition to the season. And then we'll end the season on our main stage with Disaster, the musical.
Oh my.
I know. So a lot of variety, a lot of fun. And we have wonderful students who will bring those shows to life.
And I love farces.
Yes, me too.
I think what I love so much about a farce is all the timing and the blocking.
Yes.
Chung, 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 doors in and out, and somebody else on stage and somebody wasn't. And yeah.
The fast pace.
It is.
It's something. Well, and I think you're really going to like 12th Night for that very reason. There's a lot of farcical elements. So yeah, a lot of comedy to enjoy in that play.
Fantastic. And Jayna, you've been on many times, and so you have answered the usual questions of when you're not part of the arts and entertainment, what do you like to be entertained by, the hobbies, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know if I've had to, because I just started this earlier this year for return guests. I now do, what's your word for the year?
Oh my gosh. That's such a great question. I think my word for this year, and this is kind of maybe a word for life for me, is curiosity.
Oh,
I think there's so many great things to explore and wonder about, and so many ways that curiosity can connect us. So yeah, I'm going with that.
There we go. It didn't take you long to figure that out either.
I like words.
Yeah.
So.
And, people are always curious about plays.
It's true.
Which is why they keep going.
Plays awaken our curiosity. We love it.
All right. As always, thank you so much. Been great chatting with you. Great to see you.
So good to be here. Thank you so much.
All right. And we'll be back with more of the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment.
Check out the new ceramic studio in Sioux Falls, conveniently located off Kiwanis Avenue on 5th Street. TJS Ceramics, inside Oscar's Mini Storage. Bisque, studio time, painting parties, and finished items are available. Visit TJS Ceramic Studio in Sioux Falls today.
Comedy magician and hypnotist Jesse Moffat's right. He can't play the piano, but he can sure entertain crowds with his amazing magic and clever quips. His shows always make the participants the stars, especially when they've fallen asleep on stage. They've been hypnotized. Are you the party planner in your group? Then you owe it to your group to make the event magical, even if it puts you to sleep. Here's how.
For booking information, go to Jesse Moffitt Entertainment on Facebook. That's JESSEMOFFITT. Or call 605-929-0964.
Ladies, when it's time to give your nails some love, get that extra special treatment from Quality Nails on South Minnesota Avenue in Sioux Falls. Manicures and pedicures that look great and make you feel fantastic. Zaya and Tony provide professional care for your hands and feet, whether you just want the basics or an extra special look with added flair. Oh, and guys, it's okay to treat yourself too. Quality Nails. Call for an appointment. 605-334-1463.
He's a bit flirtatious, but most of all, fun. Once again, here's Dave Holly.
Welcome back, everyone. Oh, yes. I wrote the contract. I must say it. It's always a pleasure to talk Sioux Empire Arts and Entertainment. And, I always like having new guests, but I always like having returning guests, especially when I have new Chotsky to give them. Ruthie Pottratz, welcome back to the Dave Holly Hour.
Hello, good to be back.
Yeah, great to have you. I was shocked recently as I'm hosting trivia out at Chasers, and our mutual friend, Devin Bassart, has been coming fairly regularly, as long as he's not in rehearsals or in a production. And all of a sudden, I'm looking over there going, my God, I think that's Ruthie. But then I kept hearing people calling you Missy or something. And so then I asked Bob Nelson. Mm-hmm. I said, Bob, is that Ruthie? Yeah, that's Ruthie. So I thought so, but I think I heard people calling her Missy or something.
I don't know where Missy came from.
Well, I might have had a few Jack Daniels that night, too.
That's okay.
Yeah, that happens.
Trivia is better when you're not always aware what's going on.
That's very, very true. All right, so you had, the last time we talked to you, you had just made the decision to go over to Mankato.
Correct.
Yes, and then when was it you actually came back to Sioux Falls?
I came back just this last January.
Okay.
Which it's not that fun to move in the winter, but we made it work.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it was, and I was out there for about 2 years or so.
Yeah.
And I actually did get involved. They have a dinner theater out there. It's called Mankato Playhouse. If anyone ever drives through and has a night free, it's just an hour south of the cities. they put on some good shows. Like it's a dinner theater that does exclusively musicals. And
exclusive musicals for a dinner theater.
That's kind of what intrigued me. And I was like, interesting. And I went and saw the show Assassins that they had done when it was like within the first season when I moved in. And I was like, I'm enjoying this. You know, the production quality was great, great performers. I actually knew one of the other ones. It was someone from Sioux Falls. I was like, I know this person. And that was sort of like got me interested, being like, well, let's see if they need a choreographer. Let's see if they just want some people to be involved. And I applied for choreographer. I also auditioned for some shows, and I only performed in one show, and then I helped a lot with choreography. They have kids camps as well, but they have it where it's mainly just high schoolers, like that.
Oh,
minors, but not
more
kids.
Teenage.
Yeah. And that, my goodness, is a talented group of teenagers out there. So yeah, if you're ever driving through Mankato and you have a night free, and if they got a show on, I'd highly recommend going.
Oh, awesome.
Even if it's a junior show, it's worth the time.
Excellent. Well, speaking of juniors, Newsies Junior was just the kids camp at Old Town Dinner Theater, and you were involved in that.
I was. For the third year in a row, I was asked to choreograph, and I was like, accept immediately, always. It was a great group of kids this year. Part of it's fun because after doing it for 3 years, you see the kids that progress.
Exactly.
Maybe someone in the first year was like one of the shyer ones, or like, a little bit quieter, haven't quite got maybe coordination down or something. And then you just get to see them hit that point where they just blossom. And we had to happen this year where during auditions, we had a few kids that just showed up and blew us out of the water. We're like, where was this last year? But they did a wonderful job. Sometimes I always feel like when casting a show, towards the end, I'll do the thing where I'm like, maybe we should have swapped these two kids in these two different roles, or just maybe they'd have tried something different. This one where I was like, nope, everyone is exactly where they should have been, and it came together so wonderfully. And something about this third year, and and this is probably the third year too with the same cast, because my mom's music director, John is the director, Megan Bakken is sort of a stage manager, obviously executive director. And then we also had Dave Bowe helping backstage with props and stuff, or like larger scenery pieces. So it's been the third year now we've had the same team.
Oh.
So we work well. We understand how it works. And it was a really great show. The kids really did well. Part of it too was I felt like we had an extra dress rehearsal because of the inclement flooding on Friday.
Oh.
We had to cancel that performance. Right. But it kind of got a lot of jitters out for some of the kids. So I kind of think that helped. So I don't want to do it every year, but.
How many kids were involved this year?
24.
Oof.
Yeah.
That's a good amount to get into a cast.
And we got, like with kids, some of them double up and stuff. And it's always, there's the ones that are like reliable as far as like they're solid, they'll learn their lines. And there's some that you kind of take a chance on. But it's really fun watching them continue to kind of grow and come out of the shell. Personally as well, my daughter last year did Little Mermaid, and she wanted to be involved, but she didn't want to have any solos, any lines whatsoever. We finally got her to say she had to be a chef in the Le Poisson scene, and so she had to say 2 words, tuna melt. And they were very quiet, but she did it. And this year everyone had to have a speaking role at some point, and so she had 2 lines. And my gosh, she did it.
Yeah.
She tells me every time, she's like, I'm very nervous about going on stage. And I was like, oh, that's okay to be nervous. And she still does it every time. And like, I can, as her mom, I can see it on her face, but she goes where she's supposed to go. She says the words she's supposed to say. And so there's that little dance mom moment of like, sweetie, yay.
So were you the shy type when you started theater? You were immediately going to be the extrovert.
No, we talked about this last time where I grew up with both my parents doing theater, and it was just this is what we do.
Second nature,
right? And so, and I am my father's child. My father has his normal whisper is a stage whisper. He thinks he's whispering and he's not. So I come from the loud, boisterous, gregarious kind of family anyway. And so, I'm probably goes the other way where I'm not shy in the sense of I want to try everything, which sometimes I'd have instructors like hold me back, but it's been yeah, it's fun to see her kind of shine through it. My son Charlie is also quite loud, so I'm wondering if he might be of the same kind of caliber as me, where like you throw him into it and he just goes wild. But we'll see. He's still on the young side to start yet. So,
what do you enjoy most about working with kids?
I enjoy a couple of things. I enjoy, like kind of what we talked about before, seeing the kids kind of grow into it, and seeing sometimes you'll see the moment where a kid surprises themselves. One of my favorite stories, and I tell it every year, and the kid is still in camp and he rolls his eyes every time, was the very first year we did Lion King. And there is a scene where it's the two hyenas, Shenzi and Banzai, come and tell Scar that there's no more food or whatever. Same thing in the movie. And Shenzi, we don't know where she was, Mr. Q, was during her dress rehearsal, and he came out and said all the lines that she was supposed to say.
Oh, wow.
And he did it without breaking face. He just said the lines, talked to Scar talked back, and the scene progressed with just one hyena. And it's my favorite thing because we did not tell him to do that. He walked on as if this is the way you're supposed to. Walked on as if this was how it was written. I'm going to say all these lines. He says them back. Scene done. Exit. And I was like, oh, yes, perfect. So seeing moments like that where a kid will just get something or have an instinct that's entirely correct. And you're like, yes. So it's always nice to see that growth and that kind of pulling them out of their shell. It's always good too to kind of teach them the concept of working as a team, because especially with kids, we take it for granted as adults, but at kids you have to learn that concept of not everyone's the star, or like not to be a diva about it. Like even if you are a main role or speaking role or have a solo, like there's so much that goes on backstage and so much that we do together. And sometimes it is those little roles that can be like more funny, more, entertaining, and more stand out in a way so it's just teaching kids about theater and getting them, seeing when it clicks, when some of the kids, some of them will do these camps and be like, cool, and then go off to college and, run a business or something. But you see the ones that kind of get it and are excited by it and they have a good time. And that's always nice too. The other reason I like working with kids is I can tend to be goofy and I tell a lot of dad jokes. And so it doesn't always go well when I teach adults, but when I teach kids, they think I'm funny. So.
I bet so. Now, do they do this all in 1 week's time?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay.
So first day is, intro stuff, and then we audition right away. They learn a little quick dance. This year we tried having them sing a little bit of the song. The same song that we did the dance to. So we just kind of had a consistency of what we were hearing. But then they're also allowed to, if they wish, to prepare their own solo song. And it could be Happy Birthday.
Right.
Or it could be, some other Disney song or whatever they'd like. So first day is auditions. If there's enough time, we'll try to squeeze in a read through afterwards. And then it's rehearsals. We usually incorporate tech such as lights and stuff on that Thursday of the second week, and then Friday is dress rehearsal as much as possible. Sometimes we can get 3 shows in, usually it's about 2, so we gotta reset stuff, and then by then they're ready to go. There's always that moment, usually about Tuesday evening, Wednesday morning, where we have that like, how are we gonna do this? We're still missing this, and this song still doesn't sound right. And then again, magic of theater, part of it is I think that tech, when you have the spotlight on you and the lights, and you see, it's a sad scene, so there's blue lights or whatever, and like there's more to it that it all clicks and it just comes out. So
now, did any of the kids work on the tech side too?
No, it depends on the year. Sometimes we'll have some kids paint some stuff or contribute in different ways. It kind of depends on what is required for the set itself. I know for like Little Mermaid, I think we all painted some fishes to put up. And so that was something they could help with, but it's not always. Part of it is because the person who's usually doing the sets is John, who's directing the show the entire time. So he usually likes to have the set built beforehand, or at least like 90% of it. So, he could focus on the kids and the acting and stuff. This year we got lucky where if you saw Little Shop of Horrors, it's a New York street with brick buildings and railings, and what's Newsies? A New York street with brick buildings. And so we just kind of redressed and painted over the graffiti and kind of made it work. It worked just great.
Yeah, and it always seems to down at Old Town, regardless. Yeah. Whether it's the main stage or whether it's the kids' camp. It always comes together one way or another, and just is always such a fun place to go to, for one thing. And to see the kids and what they are able to accomplish in that short amount of time, always, and we don't have a horse in the race. There's no child or grandchild down there, but still, it's just, heart-filling. Go, wow, this is awesome to see young people involved in it, and then to see them progress, like you said, over the 3 years. Who's been the type that's, all of a sudden come out of their shell and so forth. So it's always great to see. Yeah. It's always great to see you on stage, too. Since you've been home, about the only thing you've done so far is...
I was able to be part of the shadow cast for the Rocky Horror Picture Show, the midnight showing we had for June, month of Pride. And that was so fun. It was... Some people were in it before when they did it for October, Halloween, I believe. But just because of schedules, some people couldn't make it back. Right. So I was, I know I wasn't the original Janet, is who I was cast as. And so they contacted me. And I was like, of course, the first thing I said was immediately yes. And then I looked at the schedule. This was the same midnight as the Saturday of the Newsies performance. So I had 3 shows within about less than 24 hours.
Oh my goodness.
One of them at midnight. But of course, I was nervous, and I'm trying to learn Newsy songs at the same time, trying to learn the Rocky Horror songs. But my goodness, that's the most fun I've ever had performing, and I was so bummed.
Really?
It's like, we only get to do this once, because everyone was there to have a good time and to be entertained, and it's meant to be a bit silly. It's not meant to be serious.
Yeah, we're not looking for perfection here.
Right, and we, oh my gosh, we think we had 3-4 rehearsals, not even for that, just to kind of run through, and a couple of little mini choreography, like, hey, start over here, walk over here. At this point, if you wanted to run around the audience, you can, or just stand over here and do this kind of motion. The one thing we learned was the time warp, which, if you watch the movie, is not terribly difficult. And it's fun. And yeah, it was wonderful, wonderful fun. And everyone I met some new people, people who I knew of but never had a chance to talk to were in the cast. So we got to talk to like new people, old friends, new friends. And like everyone in the cast was like comfortable too. Like, just, again, there to have fun, there to entertain, and I would love to do it again. And that's, like I said, it was such a fun performance. I was like, can we do this like every Saturday in June for Pride Month? This would be amazing.
I'm surprised they didn't.
I mean, yeah, I know.
Yeah, that would have been a unique touch.
The State
to do it
Theater, from my very, very little knowledge, is still kind of working on a couple of things to kind of find their feet in that sense. They're starting like a science at the movie theater. I actually went to the one with Twister, where they had a meteorologist talk about science of Twister and stuff like that. So it's one of those things I feel like, I mean, it was, if I remember, it sold out for Halloween. It was sold out for this performance too. So I don't know if they're going to keep it as low performances to sell out the audience, or maybe they'll increase it. I don't work there, so I don't really know. That would
but
be.
You're willing to work there on that.
Right.
Stage,
I would be there anytime. Yes.
All right. So what are we going to see Ruthie Pottratz in the near future?
I don't know. There's quite a few I'm interested in, but some of them, like 2 Christmas shows at the same time, I'm interested in. So I got to pick one. I was really intrigued by Corson's whole season, actually. There's the one in the fall I can't remember the name, but it's about mostly being quiet. So it's that interests me. It was like a show where there's actually not a whole lot of lines. It's going to be a lot of physical stuff. I was like, that sounds fun. The Sherlock Holmes Christmas Carol kind of crossover is like, that just sounds also fun. And then the Hamlet, but with women, which these aren't the full titles. I'm remembering one of my summaries of them. Seems also incredibly interesting as well. So maybe one of those shows. I don't know which one. And then a couple of Old Town was their Christmas one that they have, as well as I think it's called Ripcord. My friend, when he wants to audition, she's like, we need to be the old ladies together. And I was like, that'd be fun. So,
have you ever played an old lady before?
I almost did. We did the show I Hate Hamlet a few years back before I moved to Mankato, and we had one of the characters was an older lady, and that morning, and I was stage managing that show. That morning, that cast member said she was not feeling great, feeling sick, might not make it to the performance. So I madly was learning the lines, and I was like, I don't have any old makeup, but let's go get a cane and I'll look old. She ended up being fine, did the performance, was totally fine. So I didn't get to do anything. So that was as close as I've ever gotten to playing a really old lady.
All right. So a couple of things you're thinking about at least for next year,
Yeah.
next season, I should say. It'll start basically September, mid-September, late September, and then go through, excuse me, for some even into June.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What about the length in terms of the number of shows in a run that you have? Because obviously it's different at MCAP, it's different at TPP, and it's way different down at Old Town.
Oh yeah, Old Town.
That's a big commitment.
Oh yeah, Old Town. 4 shows a season is our standard. I don't think we've ever deviated except during COVID. And it's usually our runs are about 5 weekends. And as a performer, I actually enjoy that because it feels like you kind of settle into the role really well. There's been times where, they've videoed the preview night for like posterity, like just to record the show once. And I've seen a couple of those and I'm like, oh, I wish they were recorded like the 3rd weekend. Because the first preview, you're still jittery. You're not quite sure where the laugh lines are yet. You're still kind of, again, you haven't eased into whatever the role is, whatever the show is. So it's like, if they could ever do that for like the 3rd or 4th weekend, that'd be great. But I like that. And it's what's nice too is that's a dinner theater. So as an actor or actress in the show, you get fed every night, and you can absolutely decline because part of it is after the 5th weekend, you're like, the steak again. But here's the thing, it is good steak. There's definitely times I take it home and eat it during the week.
You know what I tell people? I said that they're kind of skeptical. I say, here's what you're going to get. Pretend you're paying for a great meal at a great restaurant because you're going to have probably one of the best meals in South Dakota you've ever had. And then you're getting a free show with it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the way I love to publicize for Old Town. But obviously, John Bowe is a driving force down there.
Oh, yeah.
And Megan has done a great job. And it's just so fun to see not just the family atmosphere that it provides for anybody that goes to it, but also the family atmosphere that comes along with it.
Oh, yeah. That was... I had always done when it was Sect Sioux Empire Community Theater before it just shifted to Premier Playhouse. Done those shows for years and years and years, and kind of dropped out a couple times. I had a couple kids in there, so but I always kept coming back, and I helped them for years with their kids camps, over a decade worth of kids camps for them. And I went to go see. I had a friend who helped me with the kids camp, and she was directing Lend Me a Tenor. And I had auditions and I got to callbacks. I didn't end up getting the final role, but during like dress rehearsal week and then strike as well, I offered to help with stuff. And like people were in the show, like Mike Richards, Mo Hurley, people that I knew. Aaron Sharp was in that cast, and they were like, we're going to go down and audition for this musical comedy Murders at Old Town. Like, just come audition with us. It's a great theater. You really like it there. And I was like, I'm not sure, something new. And got into that show technically as an understudy, and then COVID happened, which threw off everyone's schedule. So they had to shuffle cast members because certain cast members couldn't make performances. So I moved from being an understudy to the lead role. But the show itself was so fun. The group of people that was there, it was very much instantly. It was like, this feels like a family. Everyone's close. Everyone cares about each other. Everyone's fun, and you feel just that great sense of just like really community, and like it's small but mighty kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I haven't looked back since.
I was going to say you get down there often.
And even if I'm not in a show, I almost will always try to waitress, or they have house managers that help sort of coordinate the waiters and waitresses, stuff like that. So get involved in some way. Yeah,
good people down there. Good people all around, though, when it comes to the theater community around the Sioux Empire. And that's another thing that's been so fun to see. In fact, we have another one starting up, and we'll be talking about that next week here on the Dave Holly Hour. But here it is, the 4th of July. What are you doing? Any big plans?
I have no plans. This is probably the first 4th of July. I haven't really had anything planned. Usually I'll head up to my mom and dad's, but I believe I'm working that Friday right after, so I don't have time to make that giant journey back and forth. So honestly, I think my plan is to maybe I actually like the movie Independence Day with Will Smith. So I was like, maybe I'll throw that on and like do some cleaning, do some laundry around my apartment. I'll celebrate that way.
All right. Fantastic. Now, you are a second-time guest. So the end of the interview, original 2 questions of, when you're not part of the entertainment world, arts and entertainment, what do you like to be entertained by? Don't ask that anymore. Because you've answered it once, and then, of course, any other hobbies. So now we want to know, what is Ruthie Pottratz's word for this year?
That is a good one. I'll probably say commit. As far as I'm doing, since moving back, I'm sort of doing a whole like self-discovery. And, lots of times I'll sit there and hedge like, maybe should I try it? Well, maybe next year. Da, da, da. And, very much good applying to theater. When you make a choice, make the choice.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to be like, no, I'm going to try this. Like I've trying to do more like health stuff. And so one of the goals I want to have maybe like in a year or two is to be able to run a half marathon.
Whew.
And so I was like, just a half, not a full.
Right. Still a commitment. Wow.
Right. So and I was like, let's go for it. And so like I'm already trying to find a couple people to run 5Ks with me, little ones.
Oh, I saw that on Facebook. I
yes.
believe.
And so I'm like, let's go. And that, because that way too, accountability, if both of us, a group of us, whoever can do it together, maybe it'll make it easier, make it more fun. And even if people don't want to run with me, but maybe want to be a cheer squad and just hang out on the sidelines and hold up signs.
We'll hold up signs for you.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Perfect.
Ruthie Pottratz, is always great to see you. Thanks for having some time to spend on the Dave Holly Hour. Happy 4th of July today.
You as well. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you. And we'll be back to wrap up the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment.
Dr. Perry Langston and Dr. Corey Tooney know excellence is in you. That's why they provide you with excellent care at XL Chiropractic, improving your overall health in spirit, body, mind, and will. Get results the natural way. Arrange a consultation, 605-332-9235 or xlchiros.com. Excellent care for excellent people. XL Chiropractic, located at 4309 South Racket Drive in Sioux Falls.
Hot? No. Cute? No. Ruggedly handsome? Yes. Once again, here's Dave Holly.
Thanks again to my great guests, Jayna Gearhart, Fitzsimmons, and Ruthie Pottratz. As always, the biggest thank you goes to each of you that listen, share, follow, and download. We are now officially over the 18,000 download mark. Thank you so very much. Never miss an episode. All 236 are online at davehollyhour.com. Both of this week's guests have been on before, so use the search function to listen to their previous conversations. Or perhaps you just need to catch up on a few shows. Happy 4th of July, everybody. As the Sioux Falls Arts Council says, together we art. As Arts South Dakota says, home is where the art is. As I say, put some art in your heart. Remember, my name is Dave Holly, and for me, every day is a holiday.
The Dave Holly Hour has been brought to you by TJS Ceramic Studio, Serendipity Studio Gallery and Gifts, Chasers Food and Spirits, XL Chiropractic, Quality Nails, Jesse Moffitt Entertainment, and the Sioux Falls Arts Council. If you would like to contribute to the continued success of this podcast, simply buy Dave a cup of coffee. Go to davehollyhour.com and click on the coffee cup icon. Don't forget to stay up to date on the show by following on Instagram and Facebook. The Dave Holly Hour is produced in the Dipsy Doodle Studios by Big D Entertainment.
Thanks for listening.